Hello guys, how's it going? Screezilla here, I hope you're all well. Okie dokie, today we are going to be doing a quick video, well not too quick, but a relatively quick one. I'm probably going to ramble at some stage, on the Caernarvon, or if you want to pronounce it properly, Caernarvon, which is the pronunciation of the Welsh town it's from in Wales. So it's named after a town in Wales, just opposite the Isle of Anglesey. The Caernarvon was the tank that was designed to counteract the IS-3, basically. Britain knew they needed a tank that could handle the IS-3, so they went with the Caernarvon. This is it. Now, the Caernarvon wasn't actually very successful. However, it did go on to be a rather successful tank known as the Conqueror. It was rendered a bit useless, in all honesty, because the Centurion did the same job and worked out to be better. Even though it had a bit less armour, it was a bit of a better tank. So, some brief information on the Caernarvon. Now, just here you'll see my squad mate. Kenzie Betts, in the STV 81. We're working together, and so this is our first battle together. Switch to player view, sorry. What am I doing? So, you can see a tiger down there. Take a quick pot shot, because he was looking at me. So, the Caernarvon. What's it like in-game? Pretty damn good, actually. The gun is fantastic. You got the 20-pounder, the Mark III 20-pounder, which is just brilliant. The ammunition, super high penetration values, really, really good. Very handy to have that. You can penetrate most things, unless it's an angled tiger, as you just saw. But because it is a solid shot, it does mean that unless you hit ammunition or something critical, you're generally going to have problems. So you've got to aim those shots a bit. You can't sort of snapshot as easily because there's no explosive mass. So, peeking up here. Now, the Caernarvon's got a really good turret protection to it. It's got good frontal armour. That's one of the big things for it. It's got almost 130mm of frontal armour, 127mm of frontal armour on the hull, 165 on the turret, 70mm at the sides for the turret, and 112 for the rear. So its turret is pretty trolly, and you can bounce a lot of shots with it. But this being War Thunder, of course, you do have times where shots just penetrate it and make no sense. You have the BESA, which helps you spot targets and see if they're dead or not. Not much use other than that, really. I'm actually backing up here because my teammate got hit. I was just backing up to see if I needed to repair him or not. Don't need to, but I did notice there was a tank flanking to the right here, so I thought better take a look at it. So, the Caernarvon. The chassis was from the A45 infantry support tank, which started in 1944, shortly after Battle of the A41 Centurion. After the war, the project was relocated to Universal Tank Design, and it was put under the name of the FV201, I think it was originally, or 200, a self-propelled artillery gun. So what that means basically is fighting vehicle number. So this being realistic battle, I don't have these handy markers here usually, but there is a tiger to my right, but I can see a tiger to my left. Get up on this hill. Aim, shoot. Take out his loader, I think it was. Second shot though, much better shot on target. So that was the first kill. Okay, all good. But there are flankers, so got to be careful here. So, in 1949 it was decided to bring the armament up to 120mm, because originally it was going to have an 84mm gun. This delayed the project to 1952. The hull was combined with a 17-pounder armed Centurion Mark II turret to give the FV 221 Caernarvon Mark I the 20-pounder gun. Sorry, the 17-pounder gun. 21 of these were built. Then the Mark III came along with the 20-pounder and the Mark II, which made the Mark II Centurion. Mark II Caernarvon. Sorry, it's tricky because they're pretty much the same bloody tank. So I spot a AAA here, and my friend gets taken out by a Tiger to the left of me. Tiger to the left of me, AAA to the right. Here I am, right in the middle of them. So I'm driving up, and all of a sudden he tells me, look left. Because I didn't spot the Tiger, and the Tiger didn't spot me. But I wanted to try and take out that AAA as quickly as possible, because I really hate AAA trucks. So I start reversing here, and then realise where that Tiger is, and go, oh, hello. So he had a nice big fat ammunition bunker on him. But I don't want to be around in the open too much because, well, it's pretty easy to get sniped around here. But luckily I managed to take out that AAA truck, the flak truck there, because that thing could be problematic for us. Now I don't want to be side onto anything, and I don't want to be shot by things, so I'm trying my best to sort of keep around and keep out the way. There's a Dicamax up by the windmill, of course, because there's always a Dicamax up by that windmill. But I spot Tiger down there, and I'm trying to spot that Dicamax, but I can't. I'm just keeping a bit still at the moment. So the great thing about the Caernarvon is the armour, basically, and also the speed of it as well. It's quite a fast tank. So I saw that Tiger shoot, which was really handy. Get a nice shot on the ammunition, and then back the hell out of there, because I don't want to be hanging around that area too long, because I know there'll be snipers around. So the Caernarvon in game, the Caernarvon never really saw action. It was a prototype tank really until the Conqueror came along, and the Conqueror never really saw anything much either. It's a pretty good tank though. There we go. Took a shot from Tiger E from the side there, and that's the biggest flaw of this tank, is the side. Luckily though, he hit my turret and not the actual side of the tank. If he hit the side of the tank, I would have been dead, because it would have also have hit the probably have killed the driver and the machine gunner up front. So now I'm down to, I'm not machine gunner, sorry. It would have probably killed everybody in the tank, basically. But it did kill my gunner and commander, as well as my really injure the loader. So I'm now down to a crew of 2, which is another flaw of this tank. British tanks have all their crew in the turret. So it's kind of one of those things, is you want to aim for the turret of British tanks because you're going to take out the most crew, but sometimes if you do hit the lower sections, this section here, you'll cause more damage because it will go right through the tank, cause an ammo rack, things like that. So I'm backing the hell out of dodge here and getting to a hidey spot. But the game's going well so far, not for the team, but for myself. I've had 4 kills, but I do need to repair, so I'm starting to repair now. So, strengths of the Caernarvon is the fact it's got the gun. The 20-pounder is just one of the best guns in the game. It's beautiful and accurate. You just know where it's going to hit. Very handy. It's pretty fast on the reload as well. For a heavy tank, this thing reloads really quickly. The shells are very high velocity as well, especially the Savots. Or Savos. It's actually really quite fast as well. For a heavy tank, this is one of the faster heavy tanks out there, and it's very manoeuvrable over rough terrain. It was one of the really good spots for this plane. It's very, very handy. So, you know, really, really useful. So if we just, you know, it makes a difference for you. You've got really good front hull and turret armor, except for the lower front plate. That's a bit weak, unfortunately. But generally, if you hold down, you're pretty okay in this tank if you're face on. So that's very useful. It's a good tank to get hold down on. Speed, as I said, is really quite decent. It's in real life, it was capable of keeping up with the Centurions, pretty much keeping them on pace, which was, you know, pretty impressive. So I'm just going to move my microphone a little bit. For a heavy tank as well, you know, considering this is a big, beefy, heavy tank, it's very fast, and it's got good reverse speed, good forward speed. The gun is super stable. It's also really stable on the move as well. So firing on the move in this thing is not impossible. You can do it. But if you want to take a sort of sneaky shot like this, do something, you have to stop. Now, of course, being an Ostwind, this is going to take me about 400 shots to kill it. The great thing about British ammunition, with any other nation that thing would have been dead long ago. Finally, we will get a kill on it. Try and call it out for my team, just machine gunning it, just annoy it basically. Finally kill it. 4 shots to kill an Ostwind. And that's the biggest flaw in this tank. I should have put... The trouble is, I could have switched to high explosives, but it was likely it wasn't going to penetrate, and not much would have happened. So just checking my left there, and then I spot the Digger Max rolling down the hill. Wait for him. Fire. Damage his engine, and his tracks. Now, this guy doesn't see me, thankfully, so he doesn't turn to me, and he doesn't turn enough to the left, so... Sorry, to the right, to his right. So he just doesn't have the aim on me, and it makes for a really easy kill, which was nice. So that was kill number 6, and unfortunately from here it was game over. The gun has got really good elevation and depression as well, another really handy thing for this vehicle. Bad things about it, large ammo rack, and it's behind the lower front plate, which pretty much everything can penetrate. If you take less than 34 shells, you're going to be okay, but yeah, you've got to... It's annoying. It's a really annoying thing. High repair price, of course, you know, it's a high tier British tank. You're looking at around about almost 5,000 lines for repair cost. Hit that Tiger just before the game ends. Unfortunately, did not get the kill on him. Would have been nice. The armor-piercing discarded salvo shot does very little damage once it gets in, because there's no explosive filler in the shells, and it has very weak side armor, and that's really the cons of this tank. But it is still a very good tank, and if played right, it can be really effective. So as you see here, front on, it's very, very hard to kill, especially front turret. You have got some weak spots to it. The top of the turret, for instance, but it's so sloped, most shots do bounce. So even though it's only 140 millimeters, you usually get bounces because it's so angled. The cupola, yeah, that can be a problem, but again, it's very low, and because of the sloping, let's just turn it off at X-ray here. A little bit of sloping does help bounce a few shots. Generally, the ring around the armor here is where you'll get a bit of damage if somebody manages to shoot in this little section here, which they usually get, but it's still fairly heavy armor. But then you get to the side, so front on, great. As soon as you get to the side, even a little bit, you really have problems. So you need to be directly facing an enemy with this thing, otherwise you're just going to get penetrated every time. Now you do have spaced armor, so that can help sometimes with anti-tank high explosives. Heat shells, high explosive anti-tank shells, but the side armor is pretty terrible. Most things are going to penetrate it. As I said, even with the spaced armor, it doesn't really help too much. And then the back is pretty awful as well. So you really need to be front on with this tank to be able to bounce shots and live to tell the tale. It's one of the best choices in 6.7 for the British line, unless you've got the STV 81, which is the premium, and you also have the added advantage of the missiles on there as well, the ATGMs. The Centurion is very good, but you know, for the tier 4 sort of tanks, the Caernarvon is one of my favourites, and probably the tank that I use most in realistic battles. It's also fantastic in sim battle as well. It's a really nice tank to take out in that, just because of the speed. Alright guys, I hope you enjoyed the video, and we will see you again soon. I'm still suffering from my concussion, so I'm still not 100% with it. Still having some trouble with certain things, but we'll be getting back to normal service soon. Alright guys, keep safe. This is Screezilla out. Bye bye.